रूपम साग्र जातम सहगण रघुनाथान्वितम तम सजीवम साद्वैतम सावधूतम परिजन सहितम कृष्ण चैतन्य देवम श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान सहगणा ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कंचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्ता वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांता स्वामी इति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। All right, so welcome everyone to the morning Srimad Bhagavatam discussion. So today we are reading from the third canto, chapter 18, text 21 through 24. I'll share my screen. Okay, so since there are multiple verses, I will read all the verses, synonyms, translation, and purport. There is only one purport. And then we will discuss a little bit. Okay, so 3:18:21. Asanna shon diram apeta sadhavasam krita pratikaram aharya vikramam vilakshya daityam bhagavan sahasrani jagada narayanam adi sukaram. Synonyms or the word-to-word meanings. Asanna, attained. Shondiram, power. Apeta, devoid of. Sadvasam, fear. Krita, making. Pratikaram, opposition. Aharya, unstoppable. Vikramam, having power. Vilaksha, having seen. Daityam, the demon. Bhagavan, the worshipful Brahma. Sahasrani, the leader of thousands of sages. Jagada, addressed. Narayanam, Lord Narayan. Adi, the original. Sukaram, having the form of a boar. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. After arriving at the place of combat, Brahma, the leader of thousands of sages and transcendentalists, saw the demon, who had attained such unprecedented power that no one could fight with him. Brahma then addressed Narayana, who was assuming the form of a boar for the first time. So we'll read the next verse. Brahmovacha एष ते देवानाम् अङ्घ्रिमूलम् उपेयुषाम् विप्राणां सौरभ्येयिणां भूतानाम् अपि अनगसाम् आगस्कृद् भयकृद् दुष्कृद् अस्मद् राधवरो असुरः अन्वेषन् अप्रतिरथो लोकान् अटाति कंटकः synonyms or the word-to-word meanings. Brahma Uvacha, Lord Brahma said, Esha, this demon, Te, your, Deva, O Lord, Devanam to the demigods, Angri Mulam, your feet, Upe Yusham, to those having obtained, Vipranam to the Brahmanas, so Saurabhyinam to the cows, Bhutanam to the ordinary living entities, Api also, Anagasam, innocent, Agakrit, an offender, Bhayakrit, a source of fear, Dushkrit, wrongdoer, Asmat, from me, Radhavaraha, having attained a boon, Asura, a demon, Anveshan, searching, Apratiratara, Apratirataha, having no proper combatant, Lokan, all over the universe, Atati, he wanders. Kantakaha being a pinprick for everyone. Kantakaha. Okay. Translation. Lord Brahma said, My dear Lord, this demon has proved to be a constant pinprick to the demigods, the Brahmanas, the cows, and innocent persons who are spotless and always dependent upon worshipping your lotus feet. He has become a source of fear by unnecessarily harassing them. Since he has attained a boon from me, he has become a demon, always searching for a proper combatant, wandering all over the universe for this infamous purpose. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. There are two classes of living entities. One is called Sura, or the demigods, and the other is called Asura, or the demons. Demons are generally fond of worshipping the demigods, and there are evidences that by such worship they get extensive power for their sense gratification. This later proves to be a cause of trouble to the Brahmanas, demigods, and other innocent living entities. Demons habitually find fault with the demigods, Brahmanas, and innocent, to whom they are a constant source of fear. The way of the demon is to take power from the demigods and then tease the demigods themselves. There is an instance of a great devotee of Lord Shiva who obtained a boon from Lord Shiva that the head of whomever he touched with his hand would come off its trunk. As soon as the boon was offered to him, the demon wanted to touch the very head of Lord Shiva. That is their way. The devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead do not, however, ask any favor for sense gratification. Even if they are offered liberation, they refuse it. They are happy simply engaging in the transcendental, loving service of the Lord. Okay, I'll read the last verse number 24. Mainam maya vinam triptam nirankusham asattamam akrida balavadeva yatha shivisham uthitam. Synonyms: Ma, do not fear, do not. Enam, him. Maya vinam, skilled in conjuring tricks. Driptam, arrogant. Nirankusham, self-sufficient. Asat tamam, most wicked. Akrida, play with. Balavat, like a child. Deva, O Lord. Yatha, as. Ashi Visham, a serpent. Uthitam, aroused. Translation. Lord Brahma continued, My dear Lord, there is no need to play with this serpentine demon, who is always very skilled in conjuring tricks and is arrogant, self-sufficient, and most wicked. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. No one is unhappy when a serpent is killed. It is a practice among village boys to catch a serpent by the tail and play with it for some time and then kill it. Similarly, The Lord could have killed the demon at once, but he played with him in the same way as a child plays with a snake before killing it. Brahma requested, however, that since the demon was more wicked and undesirable than a serpent, there was no need to play with him. It was his wish that he be killed at once without delay. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Tadadi Swapatantikam. I was born in the darkest ignorance. My spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. When will Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who has established within this material world the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter under his lotus feet? Okay, so we will discuss the verses briefly. The context is that Hiranyaksha, the fight between the Lord Varaha and the demon Hiranyaksha, and the fight is going on, and the Lord is playing with him, not kill him immediately. So having seen this, all the demigods and Lord Brahma are looking at this, and Lord Brahma is requesting that please kill the demon soon instead of playing, because he's dangerous. He's more dangerous than a serpent. And he has proved to be a constant pinprick to the demigods, brahmanas, cows, and the innocent people who are the devotees. And he has become a source of fear by unnecessarily harassing them. And he has become powerful because he had attained a boon from Lord Brahma. And using that boon, he became powerful. Now, I was searching for the boon. It seems like Hiranyaksh had got a similar boon that Hiranyakashipu will later will be inspired to get. Looks like Hiranyakashipu, the brother of Hiranyaksh, was inspired from his elder brother. And the boon for Hiranyaksh was that he could not be killed by any living entity, whether it be human being or it be demigods. So with that boon, he had become very powerful. And so here, Lord had come himself as Lord Varaha to kill him and to save the brahmanas and the living entities, the demigods, the innocent. And here in this purport, in the 22 and 20 purport number, verse number 22 and 23 in purport, Srila Prabhupada writes that there are two classes of living entities, Sura and Asura. We know that from the Bhagavad Gita also, same thing, chapter 16, the divine and the demoniac natures. There are two classes of living entities. Krishna very quickly described the qualities of the divine, and after that, the rest of the chapter, he describes the qualities and nature of the demoniac. And he says that there are two types of living entities or people, the divine and the demoniac. The same thing Srila Prabhupada is saying here. And then he goes on to say, he talks about the story of a demon who was a worshipper of Lord Shiva, His name is Vrikasura. This story comes in the 10th canto, chapter 88. So we'll quickly, I looked up that story, and Srila Prabhupada has described it only very briefly, but the story is that Vrikasura is a demon, and he goes and asks Narada Muni, like, who can he pray to so that he can get a specific boon? And when Narada Muni saw that he wanted a material boon, wanted material material things, he said, you go to Lord Shiva, worship Lord Shiva. A question came to my mind, why didn't Narada Muni tell him to worship Vishnu? But I didn't get time, but looking at the consciousness, Narada Muni is an expert person, expert, and his business is to deliver people in the best way possible. For example, to one of the hunters, he had said that kill them slowly instead of saying don't kill them. So knowing the mentality and the consciousness of a person, he accordingly gives the appropriate instruction. And in this case, he said, go and worship Lord Shiva, or do austerities and penances for Lord Shiva so that he can be pleased and he can grant you what you want. So that's what he did. He went and started severe austerities. He started to he put up a fire sacrificial place, and he started to cut his own body, flesh out of his own body, and started to offer them in the fire, wanting to please Lord Shiva. He did that for a few days, and Lord Shiva did not come, so he became agitated, angry, or whatever, and he said, maybe I can please him by killing myself, by committing suicide. So he began to kill himself. As soon as he was about to cut off his head, Lord Shiva appeared to him and asked him what does he want. And he said that I want a boon where if I touch anyone's head, the person's head immediately comes off from his body and the person dies. Lord Shiva, being obliged or whatever, wanting to please his devotee, he offered that boon to him. And after offering the boon, the demon said that, okay, let me test it out. And test it on whom? So the person before him at that time was Lord Shiva, so let me test it out on him. So this is another point that Srila Prabhupada makes here, that the demons have that mentality. And specifically here the mentality is to such a degraded level that he wanted to kill his own master, own giver of the boon. Yes, okay, some demons may want to kill the brahmanas and the cows and the devotees, but here Lord Shiva is all of them, plus he is the master of his. In one sense, he is his spiritual master, and he wanted to kill him. Anyway, so Lord Shiva, obviously, Lord Shiva need not be scared of death from somebody like this, but as a Leela, he started running, he went to different planets, and then finally he went to Shvetadvip, and there Lord Vishnu, seeing what was happening, immediately understood what needs to be done. So he greeted them, and he greeted them as a very young Brahmana boy, very effulgent looking. And he stopped them and said that what's going on, and asked Vrikasura, why are you chasing Lord Shiva? And he said, Vrikasura narrated, he was captivated by the look of this young boy, Brahmana boy, and narrated the whole story and told him what happened. And then Lord Vishnu, or the Brahmana boy, said that, yeah, you know what? Shiva has been harassed by goblins, and so I wouldn't trust his words. He spoke very sweet words, talking about him and his father, and the Brahmana boy, or Lord Vishnu, brought him into confidence, and then said that I wouldn't believe Shiva. Why don't you test it on yourself? See if it actually works. Why even chase him? Just you have yourself test it on yourself. So Vikrasura thought that yes, it's a good idea, and he touched himself and he died. So, and the demigods became very happy, and they started rejoicing, showering flowers, and saying victory, obeisances, well done, etc. So that's the story that Srila Prabhupada is narrating in this verse 22 and 23. So while reading this, a few things came to mind from the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita in chapter 17, it's 17 is the faith, right? What's the title? The divisions of faith. In verse number 5 and 6, Krishna is saying, those who undergo severe austerities and penances not recommended in the scriptures, performing them out of pride and egoism, who are impelled by lust and attachment, who are foolish, and who torture the material elements of the body as well as the super soul dwelling within, are to be known as demons. So this is very relevant in case of Vrikasura. What was he doing? Performing them out of pride and egoism, definitely. Impelled by lust and attachment, who are foolish and who torture the material elements of the body. What was he doing? He was torturing to a extreme extent. He was cutting pieces of flesh from his own body and offering in the sacrificial fire. And Krishna is saying that those who have that consciousness, that mentality, who do the severe austerities and penance, which are not recommended in the scriptures, they are to be known as demons. Perfectly applies to this story of Vrikasura. Then again, in the same chapter, in verse number 19, Krishna says, Mudha grahe na mano yat pidayat kriyate tapaha parasyo tasa danartham va tat tamasam udahritam. Penances performed out of foolishness, with self-torture, or to destroy or injure others, is said to be in the mode of ignorance. Again, the penance that Vrikasura was performing was certainly out of foolishness. He was self-torturing himself. And what was his motive? To destroy or injure others. Very clear. I mean, he wanted to get a boon that will kill others. That's the only boon he had asked for. So it is said to be in the mode of ignorance. So that was the story of Vrikasura, and these verses from Bhagavad Gita were very relevant. And the last verse, Lord Brahma said that, my dear Lord, there is no need to play with this serpentine demon who is very skilled in conjuring tricks and is arrogant, self-sufficient, and most wicked. So Srila Prabhupada here again writes, he says that the village boys usually play with snakes and then kill them. So similarly, Lord was trying to do that. However, Lord Brahma was requesting that please kill him quickly because there's no need to play with him, and that is my request as well. So with that, I'll stop here. I'll quickly summarize the verses 21 through 24. The context is that this is a fight between Lord Varaha, the boar incarnation, and Hiranyaksh, the demon. The fight has begun, and the Lord is taking time in killing him. And Lord Brahma is requesting that he is a demon of very high caliber with extreme power. Please don't delay, kill him. And then in the 22 and 23 purport, Srila Prabhupada writes about the demoniac characteristics, and he gives an example of the story of Rikasura from the 10th canto, chapter 88. And we discussed the story of Rikasura and Lord Shiva, how Rikasura took the boon from Lord Shiva to kill anyone by touching their head. And the very first person he wanted to kill was Lord Shiva, and he started chasing him. Lord Shiva ran here and there for the purpose of Leela, and then Lord Vishnu, in the form of a very young Brahmana boy, deluded him, Rikasura, and tricked him to kill himself by saying that, why don't you test it on yourself? And he did, and he killed himself. We then discussed how this story matches with what Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, 17th chapter, verse number 5 and 6, where Krishna says that those who undergo severe austerities and penance is not recommended in scriptures, and out of pride, egoism, lust, attachment, etc., and who torture their own body as well as the super soul within, are known as demons. So he gives the definition of demon, and this definition appropriately matches with Vrikasura. And then in again the 19th verse in chapter 17, Krishna says penance is performed out of foolishness, self-torture, or to destroy or injure others is in the mode of ignorance. So very clear here also. So I'll stop here and see if there are any discussions. We are
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you so much. So I was just thinking, does the demigods doesn't understand the motives of this the devotees, or when they give these benedictions, right? So I was thinking that I'm sure Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma understand the motives of these individuals, right, who are approaching them. So I mean, yeah, and again, I mean, they give such a benedictions, right, which are going to be destructive to them and also to the world. So I was just maybe your comment.
thinking why do they even, I mean, Lord Shiva being Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma being the original creator, obviously he's the progenitor. So he knows, just like we know our children's mentality and consciousness, they definitely know the consciousness of the persons, and yet they do what they are hankering for. My answer would be, Prabhu, that just like our children, Prabhupada has explained many times, when our children constantly ask for something, Prabhupada gave an example, like his son wanted to touch a running fan, and Prabhupada said, okay, he slowed down the fan and he let him touch it and let him experience. So when he touched it, experienced it, then his son realized that, no, this is not a good thing, so I should not do it again. And so the way I understand is that this journey is big. This life is one time. So they, being Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, they are seeing from a very bigger perspective. And in this life, they are giving them the opportunity to do what they are hankering for. They are, and then with that, learn and then improve their consciousness slowly, mentality slowly in the next life, etc. I mean, you may have other answer.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking, Prabhu, when you mentioned that, right? So I was thinking even for us, right? So I mean, we are kind of getting that free will, knowing that we will not be obeying those orders of the Lord, right? Still, we are getting that free will. So I was just thinking when you mentioned about that long cycle that Brahma and Lord Shiva sees for these individuals, this is just a part of it, and they're giving their freedom or whatever they want it. So maybe we are also getting from that perspective, right? When we see the love that you gave good example of children. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. All right. So if there is no other discussion, we can stop here. We can end here. वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। Thank you, devotees. Hare Krishna.